What if Deku had all for one? Chapter 3. Deku and All Might were on the beach in the early hours of the day. "Oh kid, it's time to begin your training. Now use your sludge quirk," All Might said. Deku held out his hand, but nothing happened. I don't know how to activate it," Deku said. Interesting," All Might said. All Might turned around and looked at all the trash on the beach. "Try and grab that," All Might said. All Might pointed to a pile of trash on top of which stood a microwave. Deku took a step forward. "No, try and reach it from back here. Visualize your hand grabbing the microwave," All Might said. Deku closed his eyes and imagined his hand reaching toward the microwave and picking it up. "All Might, how is this going to help?" Deku said. Deku opened his eyes to a smiling All Might. He hadn't been imagining things. At the end of his arms, where his hand should have been, was a mass of sludge which formed into gigantic hands. Laying on the palm of one of them was the microwave. "This beach used to be beautiful. You are going to clean it. This will allow you to train your body in your quirk so that you are ready for the entrance exam. You have 10 months until the exam, but with your quirk, I think you will be done in 5, All Might said. Deku's jaw dropped. He looked around frantically at the massive piles of trash. He couldn't clear all this in a lifetime, let alone 5 months. "No, I can't think like that. I can't be the strongest hero if I give up," Deku thought. All Might smiled when he saw the determined look on Deku's face. "You might be ready to go out, but not today. Today will be about you being able to turn your quirk on and off at will. Once you have that down, we can start the real training," All Might said. Deku smiled. He was so lucky to have All Might as his mentor. The rest of the day was spent by All Might pointing at a random object and Deku grabbing it with his quirk. Every time he did it, it was quicker. After 2 hours, he didn't need to close his eyes anymore. The daylight began to fade as All Might walked Deku home. "You impressed me a lot. From someone who didn't have a quirk to be able to control one so quickly is amazing," All Might said. "Thanks, All Might. I couldn't have done it without you," Deku said. All Might patted Deku on the shoulder, but Deku flinched. All Might sat down on a nearby bench and gestured for Deku to join him. "Tell me, what are you afraid of? Is it going back into that dream, or is it that you're worried that you will steal my quirk?" All Might said. "A bit of both, I guess," Deku said. "I understand, but you need not worry. It's impossible to steal my quirk," All Might said. "Wait, what? How?" Deku said. "I should explain everything. Long ago, when quirks were still new, there were 2 brothers. The eldest was a power-hungry mastermind who wished to rule over all, and the younger was a weak, quirkless nobody, but he had a kind heart. The brothers fought, but evil would always win. The eldest imprisoned his brother to break his will, but nothing would. He stayed pure. Finally, the elder brother had had enough and gave his brother a gift. A quirk." The last part really caught Deku's attention. "Gave him a quirk? No, don't tell me. This story's about All for One," Deku said. "He plays a part, yes," All Might said. All Might continued the story. The quirk he gave his brother was one that stockpiled power. However, All for One was just toying with his brother. He knew that his brother could never hope to beat him, even with his new power, and just wanted to give him false hope, intent on crushing his spirits. But his brother wasn't quirkless. He had the power to pass down his quirk to someone else, only if he wished it. This power fused with the power stockpile quirk to create One for All. This power was passed down through the years until it was my turn to carry the torch." Deku was amazed. "So don't be afraid of stealing my quirk, okay?" All Might said. Deku smiled. "You don't need to steal it because I want to give it to you," All Might said. Deku's smile disappeared. He was so confused. "Why me?" Deku said. "Your heart, your drive to become a hero and protect people. You can become the greatest hero in history. If you say you don't want it, I will still train you, don't worry." "So what do you think?" All Might said. "Yes, absolutely. Without a doubt," Deku said. Deku burst into tears. He was so surprised. The next few months went past pretty easily for Deku. He continued his training with All Might, and because of his sludge quirk, he was able to get the beach clean in only 5 months. And there we go. That's the last piece, All Might said. All Might stood next to Deku as he placed down the last piece of trash. "Amazing job, kid. You did it way quicker than I expected," All Might said. Deku slumped to the ground and caught his breath. All Might sat down next to him. "I'm proud of you, kid. Now, we still have 5 months until the entrance exam. So how about some combat training?" All Might said. "Oh, that would be so helpful," Deku said. "Awesome, but there is something that you must do first. Because you completely cleared the beach, you are now ready," All Might said. "Ready for what?" Deku said. "For One for All." Deku's eyes went wide. He had been waiting for this for so long. All Might pulled a hair out of his head and handed it to Deku. "Eat this," All Might said. Deku's face dropped. "You have to ingest some of my DNA to get One for All," All Might said. Eventually, Deku was convinced. and he reached out for the hair. Just as his finger made contact with it, darkness enveloped Deku once more. Again, he saw the figures with their glowing eyes fixed on Deku. Before him was All Might, but covered in shadow and frozen in place. Deku reached for the hair again, but was slapped to the ground. Deku looked up and saw a feminine figure with a ponytail standing above him. He looked around and the other shadowy figures were moving towards him. They seemed to drag their bodies as they moved, as if they had suffered great injuries. They all slowly closed in. The shadow figure that had hit him earlier bent down and grabbed him by the throat, slowly raising him up off his feet. Never! The voice like crunching bone filled Deku's ears. It hurt so much. Suddenly the shadow threw Deku. Deku awoke, lying on the beach. He sat up confused and looked around. There, lying across from him, was the shrunken form of All Might. All Might, are you okay? Deku said. Yeah, what exactly happened? All Might asked. I saw the shadows again, Deku said. All Might sat up concerned. They rejected me, I think. I'm unworthy of your power, Deku said. All Might shuffled closer to Deku. Hey, it's okay. You are strong in your own right. We can train that if you want, All Might said. Yeah, Deku said glumly. After that fateful day, Deku and All Might began their combat training so that they can prepare Deku for the entrance exam. Deku was still troubled by the rejection, but he didn't let that stop him. I'll become the strongest on my own, Deku said. The months flew past and Deku grew and grew. Eventually it was time. Deku walked up to the UA building with butterflies in his stomach. He was so nervous. As he walked toward the building, he tripped. Luckily, Uraraka was there to make him float. However, when she touched him, he felt something. A spark. Not in his heart, but in his hands. He gulped. No, not now, Deku thought. Uraraka put him down, then walked off after saying her goodbyes. Deku pulled his hands out of his pocket. Red lightning was zapping from one finger to the other. Okay, breathe. You have control, Deku said. Deku breathed and the lightning faded. He walked inside. It was time for the exam. End of chapter 3.